Why were you trying to contact me?
You oppose the heretics, those that took the old machines as gods.
All kinds of organics fought Sovereign and his Geth allies. Why am I so interesting?
You were the most successful. You killed their god. You succeeded where others did not. Your code is superior.
Welcome to my solo podcast. I got the name from that clip you just heard. It's from Mass Effect 3. And they're my favorite characters interacting with each other, and I just think that's the highest compliment a robot could give to a human, so I love the name. I've been watching a lot of cozy YouTube channels. I'll link the top 3 that are my favorite. 2 of them, they don't talk or show their face, so it's more like ASMR, but they're not really trying to be. It's just a really relaxing channel where they just show themselves cooking, cleaning, or doing other chores and stuff, and they just have like the cutest kitchen and house. And another one is Hannah's channel, where she lives a van life and cottagecore lifestyle, and she talks and everything, but it's just really relaxing seeing her life in the woods. So whenever she's not at her cabin, she's like out camping in her van and going on a road trip and stuff. So I really like her because she's really honest about how she got the money to have this life. She's not like a lot of the others where they're just a bunch of trust fund kids, or they act like this lifestyle is doable and anyone can do it and it's really easy. No, she's very hardworking, honest, and very sweet. So I'll link all of these channels down below. But it got me thinking, I wish her life was a video game. Because that is the only way I'll be able to like taste that lifestyle, is in video game form, where I can play it over and over again and I just have to spend $30 to $80 depending on if it's an indie game or AAA. And even if I experience that lifestyle a little bit as like going on vacation and camping and stuff, renting out a cabin and all that, and that's still gonna cost a lot of money. So yeah, I want to talk about my dream game. So I'm gonna like break it up into sections. I'm gonna talk about story, then gaming style, then controls, then art style, and then music and sounds. Like, obviously I would be so happy with a van life game that's more simple than this complicated wish list. And like if it was just like in visual novel form and we don't really get to move around, but I could just click options like when to cook coffee, when to drive around and look for new scenery, when to go to sleep, how to pass the time, and I just see the characters doing it. I would love that too. That would be really relaxing, but that would be a really short podcast, so I really want to talk about a more detailed and complicated game where it has a lot of love and thought put into it than just a visual novel and just to hurry and get something out there, or the cheapest way to get something out there because it's made by a small team and they don't have a lot of money. So this is just my van life dream game if a big company got their hands on it and created it. So starting with story, right off the bat, I want to play as a female character. Or like it could be a game where it lets you choose to be male or female, but regardless, I want there to be a female option no matter what. And I don't need the game to give us character creation, but at least let us change the outfits and hairstyle at the very least, if there isn't character creation. But yeah, I'm not gonna say no to character creation. It's really frustrating when I'm playing a really cool looking character, but I really hate their fashion sense and just not into like the color scheme or whatever it is, it's like, oh, this character would be so cool if I could just change the outfit. So, and next I just want to talk about age, where I just want to be an adult. I don't want to be a teenager. There's so many games where we're just teenagers all the time and it doesn't make sense how they can afford all this. So it would be really cool if you could play like a really old person that's just going on this journey, sold everything, or just their retirement money, whatever. But I'm just sick and tired of playing a teen. I'm 32, so I at the youngest, I would like the character to be fresh out of college, so 21, 22, but any younger than that, it's kind of like, it's frustrating because not all gamers are children and teenagers. Like, we've grown and we still love video games. So if they have the option to like let you choose to be a teenager or adult, middle age, or old, that would be ideal. But if we can't choose what age we are, I hope the set character is just mid-20s and up. I would like it if the story didn't really have an ending, or at least like after the main mission, it still let us explore the game and let us explore the map and everything. So like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and Haven, where after the main mission or after every single side quest is done with, the game doesn't end. You can continue playing as long as you want, as long as you're not tired of it and you don't shut it down. You can just continue playing. It's not really open-ended, just there's Animal Crossing is so chill that it just doesn't have a final goal or anything. You just continue to customize your island and stuff. Or it could be like the video game The Long Dark. They have their story mode separate from a like exploration mode, but they call it survival mode because there's dangers and you can die. So you can either get killed from a bear or wolf, or starve to death, get sick, or freeze to death. In survival mode, that's how the game ends, and you just have to restart a new file for the survival mode. But that would be another way I would prefer it. Like, if the story mode if the story mode ends the game after the final mission and they wanted credits, I'd understand that, but at least have an exploration mode where we're still in the same scenery from the story mode, but the characters aren't around and we could just explore wherever we want. Or the characters are around, but they don't really have any missions for us, they're just there. So that would be really fun as well. I would really like that. And I really want this game to have love interests. Either they're long romances or flings. I just really want them in the game. It really amplifies a game's, not only the story, but like makes me roleplay even more when it's my character gets to like flirt with other people. And I would like to be able to create friendships, have family relationships. That's another big thing. I'm really sick of playing an orphan in these games because they're too lazy to give our character a backstory. So I would like family relationships and enemies, being able to make an enemy based on how we respond to people. So I would like if the game lets us keep in touch with them through text, calls, letters, emails, and meetups. And I'd like if the game had like different types of jobs our character can do to make money, and every time they travel to a location and they need to, like buy food and gas and supplies and stuff like that. And money for like renting camping spots. I just love micromanaging, not to the annoying level of like The Sims. Gotta like make sure you pee and poo and stuff like that. Like, I just enough to where there's stuff to do and it makes the character feel very immersive, and very easy to roleplay into, of like, I gotta think about money and how she's getting these supplies and stuff. I would like if the character kept a diary or a journal, photo album, or a blog or vlogging, just to kind of like keep track of memories. There's this game Firewatch where you could just take random photos, and then at the end of the game during the credits it shows all the photos you've taken. So I just would like little notes like that to remember our gameplay. So I would like this game to have some type of danger, like you can lose money by parking tickets or getting robbed or being followed or harassed by enemies that we make. There's dangerous animals if we like camp in the woods, like getting eaten by bears or alligators or something like that, getting injured, or like shady people, like in the game Road 96, where you can get robbed or killed, and then having our van get damaged and needing money to fix it and stuff like that. Especially since I'm gonna be comparing my dream game to The Long Dark, where in The Long Dark you can just have a location, like your like home base essentially, and you can travel as far and stay away from it as long as you want and always come back. So that could be the same for the van. Like if it's damaged and can't go anywhere, it just has to sit there until you can find someone to repair it, or you have the skills yourself to repair it, or just get the tools to repair it, something. That's how I'm imagining this game to be. Or like in The Long Dark, where you can starve, freeze to death, fall from a cliff and die, or tree, building, or get sick. I'm debating if I want this game to be in a modern world or in an apocalypse where there is daily life. So not like zombies or anything, just kind of like Fallout, where the society has fallen, but they're kind of slowly coming together, and there's supply lines and everything, and there's stores back up and everything, and places to live. Or like in the last few episodes of The Walking Dead last season, it was kind of just daily life, where a lot of people complained saying it was boring, but I loved those episodes. I loved seeing it calm down for a moment and just seeing how the characters live in that world, doing little daily chores and stuff like that. And in Fear the Walking Dead, I forgot what season it was, but they also had like they calmed down for a moment. There was no immediate danger or groups to fight, so they kind of had daily life in those episodes as well that I also liked. So I'm back and forth how I want the van life game to be, because in The Long Dark, it's in an apocalypse, sort of, in that location, because technology doesn't work, except for a moment at night where everything comes on. So, if it had to be in an apocalypse, I would like it to be something more relaxing, like The Long Dark, than it being zombies and raiders and anything like that. So, maybe it could just be modern day, and we're just in locations where we're not being annoyed by advertisements and the city and stuff like that. Because I would like it if the game was set in the city some parts, and trying to find a place to like camp and park your van. So, but maybe the big city area would just be a small map area, but the rest of the map is more nature. So let's talk about game style now. So I obviously want it to be somewhat open world, but I'm not sure I want it completely open world, because those games have a lot of bugs when like the game's trying to load the whole world. So it would be easier on the game if it was like a sandbox or playground, and like just have like little map areas, and like Monster Hunter or The Long Dark. So anytime you're in one location and you go to another, the game loads that whole area when you go into the other location, but it's not loading any other area. So it's like, it's easier on the game when it just has a little sandbox area to load. You can like drive around, get out, and find supplies anytime you want. Pretty much park anywhere. Unless it's like a city area or a town, and you can't just like, you know, like I said, I would like there to be some type of consequence for carelessness. So like parking tickets or like parking on someone's property and stuff like that. But like I think city areas would be like the hardest part if you're like you're low on money, but you can just like rent an apartment or rent a house or a parking space to like stay in or sleep in and stuff like that. It's just, I really want this game to be detailed and very fun. Like instead of like all the other open world games that's just like so detailed and like combat and fights and like skills and stuff like that for like violence, I just want a very open worldish detailed van life game. That's all I want, is a really good camping road trip game. So I want there to be like different ways and outcomes and on how to like survive in this world. Like one man's trash is another man's treasure, so you could just like find free supplies or buy supplies like good quality stuff, or steal good quality stuff. Either you're stealing from a store or stealing from someone else's trunk or whatever, and their car is just open or something. Like I would like if the game was that open to where it feels realistic, so it's like as real as possible to having a van life. And like the supplies and all the little items in the game could just be like tools, camping gear, food, gas, clothing, different clothes, and the few weapons in the game to like for firewood or like to defend yourself against wildlife or even people, be like axe. If it has guns, it could be like the Long Dark, where they just have two types of guns and they're hunting guns. It's just a little revolver or a rifle, so it's just defense stuff. That game is not a shooter at all, and the developers were clear on that. It's just for defense and hunting for meat. So if this game did have weapons, it would just be probably just one, a little revolver, or one just being a rifle to go hunting. So, or a crowbar, cooking pots, or like stuff to repair the van. So little stuff like that. And can like try to find the right clothing for the right weather. Like either it's really hot or it's very cold and you need clothes that are gonna keep you warm. Different gear, different tents for the different types of weather as well. And like I said, can camp anywhere if it's like you're just there in nature. And I want it to be in the style of a walking simulator where the controls are very easy, because I don't want this to be a shooter or a violent game at its core. I just want little stuff to like defend yourself, maybe have like mace and stuff like that. And I don't want it to be a side scroller. I'm really sick of side scrollers. There's a lot of indie side scrollers that are like survival games, and even though I'm not a big fan of side scrollers, I'll still play them, but every time I'm wishing it wasn't one. I'm really like walking simulators a lot more. Either it's third person or first person. Walking simulators are so relaxing to play. And I don't want a top view type game like Stardew Valley. I just want the camera to be right next to my character, or like I said, first person, but I think I'm leaning towards more third person so I could see the character's style. But it could be like Fallout where you could change the camera from first to third anytime you want, and like anytime you just want to look at your character, you can. I would like if the game gave us skills to level up, like cooking, repairing clothes, like basically The Long Dark. It has all of these skills, survival skills for camping and stuff, and like the skill to like start up a fire and how quickly and how long the fire lasts, and skills on being a mechanic and, you know, repairing stuff, anything like that, or like how good our aim is with a rifle or a bow or something. And yeah, basically that. I would like it if there was, because it takes a very long time to level up those skills in The Long Dark. So it's a really big achievement when you have all of those skills maxed out. So it's I would like to have that feeling of achievement in this game as well. So in the game This War of Mine, the characters had their own moods, and their mood depended on if they had the items that they liked as hobbies, or just needed some type of distraction from how difficult the world was for them. So some characters wanted books to read, some wanted cigarettes to smoke, some wanted certain types of food, some wanted toys. So I think it would be really cool if in this van life dream game I want, our character's mood depended on if we had the internet or books or some type of hobby or some type of food, anything. Like maybe we can customize what our characters' likes and dislikes are and their personality type in the beginning of the game or something, or just maybe it doesn't matter what kind of fun distraction we use as long as we have one. So yeah, I would really like, I just imagining like having a character read a book by a fire and just having that on the screen, it's just so relaxing. I'm one of the people that puts on the fireplace thing on Netflix and just has it playing on the TV. So I do the same with The Long Dark. Anytime you cook food, it's so relaxing because just hearing the food sizzle and the fire going, I can imagine that for the van life game as well. And I would like if the character had some weaknesses, or maybe just one weakness, and that's just scared of the dark. Maybe the characters by default are scared of the dark and you need some type of nightlight before, like for when the sun goes down, like a flashlight, lanterns, candles, flares, glow sticks, whatever. You just need some type of light to sleep in, and maybe the character has trouble sleeping in pitch darkness, or maybe that's a skill to level up where it's like your character isn't scared of the dark anymore. You don't need the light unless you just want it for aesthetic reasons. And another big thing I really want in the game is to be able to customize my surroundings. So in The Long Dark, you can customize no matter what building or house you're in. You can like set your items on the floor and you can like set them up on places and kind of customize your living space like that. I would love if the van life dream game had something like that, to where, or something even more detailed than that, because there's some stuff in The Long Dark that we can't clean up. It's just in the floor or on the wall. Like we can't take down paintings or anything. The wall just has to stay as it is. I would love if we could touch any little item that we see and change it, take it down, strip it for parts, sell it for money, or just customize and upgrade. Being able to upgrade our tents, our van. Maybe we don't drive a van, maybe it's an RV or a box truck or a big semi, the ones with a bed that you could sleep in, or maybe just start off with a small shitty car and we walk up to a van. But either way, like I really would like a way to upgrade whatever we're driving and be able to like customize it and everything. I really want that. And I would like to be able to customize the difficulty. If the game has to be very, very easy, so be it. But I would really like it if, like in The Long Dark, we can customize the game to our preferred playstyle. Like, we can set how aggressive the animals are, and we can make every animal scared of us and they just immediately run away. It's so relaxing to play The Long Dark when I don't have to worry about wolves and bears coming face to face with me because I know they're just gonna run away. So it's just a chill playthrough. So, and then sometimes I do want the challenge. So, and you can like customize how cold everything is, or like how often the storm comes and how heavy the storm is and everything like that. Or how hard it is to find supplies, how easy it is. So it would be cool if this game let us customize all of that, how smart or dumb our enemies are, how brutal the weather is, or how much money or how little money we get for everything. And that's another thing I really want there to be. Good weather and bad weather, calm weather and stuff like that. And like I said, I really want there to be a city area and a countryside area, but you know, more countryside. I want there to be a little section of a city type area if it's modern, and maybe like it being in a different country than just it always being based in America. But I'm not gonna say no to any van life game, America or not. It's just, it would be cool if it was based in another country. And I am debating if I want a co-op, because most times if a company splits their focus from story mode and a multiplayer mode, the story suffers because of it. So I kind of want them to just focus on a single player. But there have been some examples where it had a really good story and a really good multiplayer, that being The Last of Us, the first game. Like, the story was so good and the multiplayer was just so fun. So it could happen, but it's so rare that happens. It's more like sometimes the story just cut short, or there's plot holes, or there's a lot of glitches and bugs because they were concentrating on multiplayer. So I guess if the co-op was more like Haven, that game, or like Resident Evil 5 and 6, where the co-op is within the story, not multiplayer. So take multiplayer out of it. I don't even want it in a van life game. But a co-op where they get to play as a companion you meet along the way in your road trip. So either it's a friend or a lover, maybe even a pet. So maybe player 2 could play as the romantic interest, or your friend, or your family member, or your pet, and that's how it could be. Or maybe it's just kind of like Dark Souls, where you could see little signs, but instead of signs, maybe they're little supply lines or supply cache that players have left to anyone who just gets it first. So that's something I always imagine when I'm playing The Long Dark, is if I have way too much stuff and I just can't carry everything, I just leave whatever I can't carry in like a small little pile, and I'm always thinking, oh, another survivor will come along and use this So that would be a cool way to think of it, is if anything you don't want when you drop on the ground, it's either you can just leave it there and you can come back for it, or you could just have the option to put it in multiplayer and to have another player find these items that you left behind, and it notifies you somehow just to make you feel good. So kind of like when someone gives you a thumbs up in your message on Dark Souls, you get notified when how many people like your message. So that could be another way. So I guess if co-op was like that, I would like it, but I don't really want there to be a split focus from what could be a really good single player game. So like I said, I want this game to be third person or first person, but I want first person to be more of an option. If it was just first person, then I would want it to be in the style of Cyberpunk, where you can look down and see your whole body. You could see the clothes you're wearing. So if you change your outfit, you can look down and see that changed outfit. And you can even customize your nails and everything. So Cyberpunk has done first person well, because I love being able to look down and see my character's whole body. And I want there to be an actual run speed. I want the character actually have a sprint, because in other cozy, relaxing games, even in The Long Dark, the run speed isn't that much faster from the walking speed. It's ridiculous. It's like not even worth running, because you get tired quickly, and in The Long Dark you have a sleep meter, and every little thing makes you tired, and running really makes you tired, and it's almost not even worth running all the time because of how slow it is. It's not that much faster from walking. So I really want the van life game, so anytime you have to get out of your van and go somewhere, to actually have a very fast jogging style. Like, I know sprinting would look weird and crazy, and I don't want no Naruto run or anything, but at least let the jogging be fast. And I would like there to be kind of like an auto drive, like an auto run. So I think it was The Witcher 3 where you can have your horse auto run on a dirt path. So if there's like just a road, instead of having to drive and control the car the whole time and make sure it doesn't like crash or anything, because sometimes driving in games is frustrating. So maybe anytime we're on like an actual road, it'll have an auto drive for us. So next is art style. So I'm gonna be linking every single game I'm about to list, so you could see the art style and graphics of these examples. The Long Dark, Among Trees, The Witness, Life is Strange: True Colors, Firewatch, which is my favorite example. I would love if the van life game looked like Firewatch. And then Wind Waker, Windbound. So Wind Waker and Windbound look similar, but Wind Waker is more lighter toned and Windbound is more darker tone. And then the game Stray. So Stray, when I played it, I immediately thought of The Last of Us. So Stray is an indie game with AAA graphics, because I've never seen another indie game with these graphics, because I immediately thought of The Last of Us. But it's not... I would love if the van life game can look like The Last of Us and Stray, but I'm imagining a game like this, a chill game like this, probably won't be a AAA, so I would love it if it was Firewatch. That's my favorite one, but I wouldn't be mad if it looked like all these other games that I listed, because they're all beautiful, and all of these art styles let you see a detailed background. So I'm also gonna list some games where other indie style games where you can't really see the detail of the background, or it's so the games that or examples that I don't want this game to look like is Overland. It's very blocky and it's pixelated, but it's styled pixelated. Like, it's pixelated on purpose. And chibi style. So pixelated, blocky, and chibi is what I don't want. I want the characters to be their actual height and not chibi. So with Wind Waker, people might argue that it's chibi style, but it isn't, because there are characters, adult characters, that aren't chibi. They're their right height. So it only looks chibi because we're playing as a child. So just to get that out there. So Overland, Stardew Valley / old Pokemon games, and the new indie game called We Are OFK. That type of blocky is okay because I could see the details of the characters, but there's still, within that art style, there's still a lot of details I can't see in the background. So overall, I wouldn't want the game to look like OFK if it was this open worldish map area game. But I wouldn't mind it to look like We Are OFK, Overland, Stardew Valley, if it was a visual novel or something like that. So the last section is music and sounds. And I really want it to sound ASMR-ish, like The Long Dark, how everything in The Long Dark just sounds relaxing. So the sound of weather, whether it's snow, rain, or like the wind just hitting the window from inside the van or inside the cabin, or the sound of cooking food, the sound of making coffee, the sound of a fire going, or just walking in the snow or walking in the dirt or grass. I really want that. And the only music we get is from the radio. Like, if we turn on the radio, I don't really want there to be a soundtrack for background music, because it's not like, I want it to be kind of realistic as much as possible. So it's not like we walk in through a door and we have our own theme song, or we begin battle and there's a theme song. I want there to be just silence, and we just, you know what I mean. I just want there to be silence unless there is a radio on somewhere. Or simply just have the option of background music, being able to turn that volume all the way down for people who don't want that, versus the people who are okay with random background music being on. And I would prefer if there was no voice acting. Like, I really thought about this. I thought, like, oh well, they could be voice acting and just have the option to turn the voices down, but I just keep thinking about how unlikely it is that a van life relaxing game, road trip game is gonna be a AAA game. It's gonna be expensive, so maybe just save money on voice actors by not having any. So I would want no voice actors, just to read the text, that's it. And like I said, it'd just be a lot more cheaper, can spend money on graphics and controls and have their focus on that and gameplay, and make sure everything is there and the micromanaging of the mechanics in the game work good. We could just, and I love being able to imagine what my character sounds like without there already being a voice for it. I would like to be able to have my own voice, or some other voice that it feels more immersive that way. It's one of the big reasons why I don't like audiobooks. I like being able to just read it myself because I like being able to imagine what the characters sound like instead of having someone tell me how they sound when I don't think the sound of their voice matches the description of the characters. So I would like to just avoid all that. Or it could just be gibberish like Animal Crossing or something. But like I said, it would probably just be easier not to have a voice. And to talk about the text, sometimes the sound of text and like menu buttons and effects can be annoying. So I'd like if there was an option to turn those sounds on or off. Because it could get really annoying if you're just clicking through a lot and every time you click, there's a sound effect. So sometimes that gets really annoying. So that's it. That's my wish list for this very detailed van life road trip camping game. But there is no van life game at all that has been made because I tried looking. So if any game gets made that's a van life, I'm gonna be so happy and excited for it no matter what. So the game could be way more simpler and more chill than what I've listed. Like I said, it could be a visual novel with just little interactions, like so we can have like the anime aesthetic look and art style, and we can just choose when a character gets out of the van and starts up a fire and cooks some food and coffee. And that's it. We don't actually get to move around. We just see them doing the thing, and it's just relaxing to see, like watching an anime. But I just felt like sharing my fully detailed dream game. Thanks for listening.